Welcome to Dorset Drone Guy, and today I'm going to tell you how to get your drone license. There are a number of companies in the UK that will help you get your license. Now, first things first, it's not actually called a license, but for the sake of this video, I'm going to call it a license anyway, because that's what people are going to call it. Now, the license that I'm talking about is the A2C certification. You'll need to go to a company that will provide the training, and then they will give you an online exam. There's no flight test. You don't need to go there in person. Now, the reason you need this A2CFC certification is so that you can then get third-party liability insurance, which you need in order to be doing things legally. The CAA, the Civil Aviation Authority, kind of basically state that you need to have public liability insurance to be legal, and you need this A2CFC certification in order to get the insurance. So how do I get the certificate? Well, there's a number of companies out there. I got mine with Flyby Technologies. It was £99. It was on offer, and I believe there are a number of other companies offering the same training for exactly the same price. Now, the normal price will be well over £100, possibly even £200. So they're all doing it fairly cheap at the moment. They want to kind of get you into their ecosystem so that if you want to go on and do a more advanced training in the future, then you'll stick with them. I went with Flyby because they give you a promise. If you spend £100 now, and say you come back 6 months' time or a year, and you want to then take it to the next level and get what's called the GVC, well, that £100 that you've already paid will then be taken off the price of the next level up. And then if you decide to go a level up beyond that, which is really advanced, flying drones beyond visual line of sight, then you can progress, and you only ever pay for the most expensive course. So you're not paying for course A, B and C all on top of each other. Now, I don't know if other companies are offering this. So other companies out there are, and one of the big ones that a lot of people are talking about is UAV Hub. I've no personal experience of them. I know people like Ian in London, I believe, is doing it through UAV Hub. And I spoke to somebody on the network radios. So if you don't know what that is, it's like a ham radio, but it's not really. But I was talking to some guy on there last night who actually did his A2CFC with UAV Hub, and we sort of discussed how we did it. Now, for me, all of the training was done via Zoom. 7 or 8 hours worth of training over a number of days, evenings it was, and then the exam at the end of it, which took about half an hour. So the exam is all online. You don't have to go anywhere to do flight tests. You're not going to be assessed, which is a little bit mad. But they will ask to see your flight logs at the end of it, just to confirm that you've completed 2 hours, I think it is, or 200 minutes worth of actual flight. Once they've seen that, they will then issue you your certificate, which you then send, I believe you then send that to the CAA, who send you a certificate, and then you're good to go. I'm not entirely sure about that final process because it hasn't actually finished yet. I'm waiting for it to come through, but I believe that's how it is. Now, the guy I spoke to that did his training through UAV Hub, he had to log in, teach himself. So you go through each stage of the module, read it. It would give you a little quiz to see if you understood that module, and then you go to the next bit. There's no tutor there to explain things. Now, that's something that you do get with Flyby, who I went with, and I quite like that because I'm not a fan of reading things. It's quite nice to have just effectively watch somebody live reading it for you, and then you can say, oh, what was that bit? I didn't quite get that, and he'll go back over it. And not only that, they're going to give you hints towards exactly which bits you really need to remember in order to pass the exam, which I don't know if you would get that with someone like UAV Hub, for example. Now, I'm not saying you should go with Flyby or UAV Hub because I haven't tried both. So all I can do is tell you from my own personal experience how things went, and obviously from speaking to this other guy that has gone through UAV Hub. One other major difference is with UAV Hub, I'm told that when you do the exam, you have to log in online, and somebody is actually there watching your webcam and monitoring you doing the exam in real time to make sure you're not cheating. Now, with Flyby Technologies, it's different. You have to install a browser plugin which monitors your webcam, mic, keyboard, browsers to make sure you're not opening up wikis and things. And it basically records everything and uses AI to determine whether you've cheated. If it thinks that you might have cheated, it'll flag it up for a manual review. So essentially it boils down to the same thing. You are being watched, and you have to make sure that you don't cheat. Because it's just going to reject you. So what is the exam like? Now, the exam I did was 30 questions. They were all multiple choice, and I found it really easy. There were a number of questions about weather fronts, and it's stuff that you will be taught in the course. For example, does a cold weather front move faster than a warm weather front? Now, if you don't know the answer to that, you will once you've gone through module 1 of the course, assuming it's in the same order as what I did, you'll know all this stuff. You don't need to know really advanced things about the weather, but you do need to understand how to read what's called a TAF or a METAR, which is a weather report from your local airport. So the TAFs is the main thing. You don't need to understand how to read the whole thing. You just need to understand the validity period. So when it's valid from and when it's valid to, which is really easy to do. Once you've been shown it, you'll remember it, piece of cake. Other things are understanding how batteries work. So capacity. Your battery will have a C rating, it will have a milliamp hours rating, and it will ask you a question about how long should you charge the battery if it's got a C rating of 20 and it's 2000 milliamp hours. Now, again, you probably don't know the answer to that, but once you've been through the course, you will. And it's the same with everything. Obviously, they're not going to ask you stuff they haven't taught you. And everything they teach you is pretty simple stuff. Most people that are doing the course may already know it anyway. If you've already done a PFCO, which you may not have done if you're watching this video, PFCO is like the old license that was valid last year. It was £1,000. So if you're just getting into the hobby now and you're looking to do something commercial, then you're saving yourself about 900 quid, because it would have cost you £1,000 about a year ago. So I never did the PFCO. I didn't need to for what I was doing. But this year I've decided to get more commercial, and the stuff that I want to be doing does require me to have the public liability insurance. Therefore, I need the A2 CFC certificate. So what are your first steps? So your first steps will need to be that you will need a drone, somewhere between 250 grams and a couple of kilos maximum. I think that's the weight range that this sort of certification falls within. You will need to show your flight logs. So if you haven't done already, if you're planning on doing the course within the next 90 days, then get out there and start getting some flight time in, because you can then use that as evidence later once you've actually passed your exam. Otherwise, once you've passed your exam, you'll then have to go out and just fly for a couple of hours just to be able to submit those logs to say that you've done it, which for me seems a little bit crazy. I mean, I'm in a situation now where my flight time in the last month or two is pretty low because I've been stuck indoors. But the flight time 90 days plus is massive. There's so many hours worth of flight time in there, but I can't submit those logs because they're more than 90 days old. So what I'm going to have to do is actually go out tomorrow and just stick the drones in the air to clock up some flight time just to submit to them. Now, when we're talking about safety, this seems crazy. I'm literally just going out to put some numbers in a flight log. I'm flying a drone for no point whatsoever. Yeah. And for me, that seems a little bit backwards when we're striving towards safety. I'm not going to learn anything that I don't already know about the drones. I've been flying them for years, and I'm literally just sticking two drones or one drone in the air at a time just so I can clock up some time. But hey ho, that's the way it is. So that's how you do it. You need an A2 CFC certificate. Once you've got that, you then need to buy some £13 a month third-party liability insurance, the minimum of £750,000. Now, most companies, the minimum they will offer anyway is £1 million, so you're good to go. And that's it. I hope this video was useful to some people. If you've got any questions, feel free to put them in the comments below and I'll do my best to answer. And if you'd like to see more from me talking about various different drones and laws and everything else, then remember to click the like button, subscribe and ring that bell. And we'll see you in the next video.